What it means to be old fashioned. How do we live old fashioned? And what does it mean? The more I thought about it, I realized that old fashioned manners, modes, and lifestyles aren't defined by the image of the woman at her treadle sewing machine, making her own soap, drying her herbs, butchering her cow, making patchwork, braiding rugs, etc., but by the never changing eternal principles found in the heart that fears God. The more I thought about this, I knew that it was this reverent fear that made the difference in our society. She is the one who is old fashioned. She is the one who must stand against the liberal views and struggle, not only in the world, but in the church as well. Who is the old fashioned one? Who is the one who fears God? Where is she? And what does she do? First, she is old fashioned because she seeks to stand alone and obey the voice of conscience, the voice of God within her, who demands total obedience and loyalty at all cost. She is old fashioned because she seeks to please Him first before being brought into conformity to what man thinks she must be. She is old fashioned because she sees herself in her weakened and misunderstood state, knowing from whence and only comes her help. She is old fashioned in that she has no strength of her own to fulfill the responsibility she has been called to. She doesn't pretend, nor does she strive to acquire in her own self sufficiency the means whereby she meets the demands upon her. Rather, she sees her need and cries out for help. She knows she is in want and lacking, making her relationship to God her most valued treasure. She is old fashioned in that she admits she needs Him for her very enablement. She is old fashioned because she knows that without the quickening and breath from God, she would be an utter failure and destroy the very ones God has given her to bless. She knows that without Him, she is nothing. She is old fashioned because she dares to take God seriously when He calls her to befriend her children, even when she knows it will cost her self. She is old fashioned because she knows that it is only through the reverence and fear of God that she can remain humble, to admit all her deficiencies in raising the godly seed He has chosen. This also takes courage, and courage is very old fashioned. The courage to admit she is weak. He is strong. She is wretched, miserable, poor, but He opens her eyes. The courage to admit she does desire the glory and recognition she feels she deserves. He gives her the grace to be abased. The courage to admit she does long for the world's financial security, comforts, and success. He is her exceedingly great reward, never seeing her forsaken or her seed begging bread. The courage to admit, not my will, but thine, Lord, be done. Who is endeavoring to be that old fashioned biblical woman? The one who endeavors to fear God and keep His commandments, making herself ready for her bridegroom, keeping herself unspotted from the world, not seeking to be conformed to it even when faced with rejection. Rather, she who endeavors to be that old fashioned biblical woman is one who has learned the secret of being still, waiting on her God, sitting at His feet, hearing His voice, knowing His name, answering wisdom's cry. She is not conformed, nor does she make herself a partaker of the shallowness of the world through rushing. She is old fashioned because she has chosen rather to take her time and listen, think, and wait. She is old fashioned in her endeavors to be fair judge. For what other's reason does she seek to be old fashioned but to shine forth on her family and others the very light of God Himself, shining upon her through her devotion to Jesus? Her endeavors for the old fashioned life are birthed out of knowing God and His fear upon her, accountable for the souls He has entrusted her with. This is her motivation. When she has found Him in whom she delights, Then will her outward lifestyle be a reflection of the inward separation from the world and its ways in all its pride, self seeking glory, and vanity. Are you that old fashioned woman? Are you endeavoring to overcome this perverse and corrupt generation? Are you a woman seeking to return to an old fashioned, simple lifestyle? Then seek first to be rid of all the world that is in your courts of Pharaoh and its pleasures for a season, the flesh and its lust. Seek to be purified from all self deceit, and you will be seeking that which is truly old fashioned and rare. Seek to be made holy as He is holy. Seek true holiness and not just its form, that you might see God. Then will your light shine with old fashioned piety and contentment of soul. Very old fashioned. Then will there be no need to proclaim, as if to tell the world I am old fashioned, but by the very life of an eternal, ever present, and old fashioned path with God, will your life speak for you in its very old fashioned meekness and quietness, and men will know what He is real. Submitted by Judy O'Neill from Crown with Silver magazine.